Jeremy S. Cook here, and like many of my videos, I had a bit of a problem. See this space to the left of my desk? Pretty messy, but I've got all these things that need some space for it. Evie agrees that something needs to be done about this. And so, voila, here I have it. A windowsill extension. I've never actually seen any sort of piece of furniture like this, so perhaps it's a whole new class of furniture. It roughly doubles your windowsill from about 5 inches of area that you can put some stuff on to more like 12. So the build started off on Fusion's 360. Thought about putting a slot in it to begin with to put it actually under the windowsill, but the thought of pressing on the other end and torquing it up and damaging everything really, I just didn't think that was a good idea. So here it is. Pretty much the design's laid out there, and then I put it on my miter saw, cut it out. The legs are 22 inches long for the legs and then 5 feet long for the top. So in theory, if I got a 10-foot piece of 2x8, I could have made this out of one piece of wood. I didn't. I only was able to find 8-foot pieces, but yeah, such is life, I guess. So I'm just finishing up there, cutting out the angled supports. That'll keep everything nice and sturdy. Another thing I did, I made a jig for drilling out the bottom. What I'm going to do is actually put some quarter 20 screws on it so I can adjust the height just a little bit, some leveling feet, as you might say. This jig, in theory, would keep everything in the same position, both horizontally and keep it from twisting over. So I 3D printed this. I wasn't sure how it would work out, but after a little test here, it actually did. It was actually able to hold up to being drilled through. So I was kind of surprised actually that worked. The jig was supposed to be a little bit higher, but the 3D printer had some problems. I corrected it, but I'll put a video about that in the upper right hand corner. So with that done, I drilled into it and it did level everything horizontally. So everything's pretty much in the same position, able to drill this over and over, creating 4 leveling feet to line it up just right with my windowsill. If you're careful, you could just forgo this altogether, but then if you're going to put it in some other environment, you might have to adjust a little bit. So I think it's a good idea to use. So those are the 4 holes. Had to actually drill it out just a little bit for the inserts that I'll be using for the quarter 20 screws. Use these same inserts on a bed project that I did earlier. I'll put a link to that in the upper right hand corner. Just gotta fasten these all down with your Allen key. And there it goes. You can see one of the inserts, or one of the leveling feet, already in there, ready to go. So from there I put a few pocket holes in there. Put them on the same side when in actuality I should have put them on opposite sides because of the way it stacks, the way it goes together in 3 dimensions. I like to think I can think that way, but sometimes you forget and make a little error. Put those at 90 degrees with another piece of 2x8 and then screw that in. Speaking of errors, you got to be really careful with this power drill, otherwise you just torque it down too much and kind of rip through there. And then you do the same thing to the other side. After that, it's time to put on the 90-degree braces. Just glue that on there, and then I would screw it down, or so I'd hoped. Hoped I could just screw it down and put it into there, but as you see, there'll be an error right about here.
Come on.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. So is that. And that really wasn't going to work out. So what I did instead, I cut out the ends of these so it would be much easier to clamp down. Perhaps I should have known this, but this is a pretty beginner level woodworking project, so, well, feel free to leave your comments in the comments. So I had to make sure it was roughly 90 degrees, and with that, screwed everything down. You might note here that I used glue on the 90-degree braces, but did not put any in the sides. Probably should have, forgot about that, and then I put it on later. I don't know if that made any difference whatsoever, but, well, didn't seem to hurt anything. After that, it was quite a bit of sanding, and then some stain, some cherry stain. It looks really beautiful after using this. Use this on my gigantic desk project. Again, I'll link that in the corner. Put a little urethane, matte urethane, kind of my go-to coating. And there's another shot of the leveling feet. Putting one of those in. So with that in there, I can get everything just right and lined up correctly. You know, if it's carpet, ceramic, hardwood, whatever. So here it is in use right here. Right now it's got a monitor on it, my camera, sprite can, you know, whatever. So thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, I make all kinds of crazy stuff, so be sure to poke around my channel, and if you did like it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, or whatever you want. Thanks so much for watching. This is Jeremy S. Cook, signing off.